Chapter 12 of our text deals with persuasion. It's a rather long chapter. Let's dive right into it. It has 6 sections to it. The first is the audience, in terms of defining who the audience is. Second, elements of persuasion. Third, how to focus persuasive messages in terms of goals, aims, and claims. Fourth, types of persuasive claims. And then fifth, it's something we've already done, and that is organizational structure. But here it's providing organizational structure to persuasive speeches in particular. And then the very short section of ethics and persuasive speaking. Of course, we've had a whole chapter on ethics. So let's dive into the very first part, the audience in persuasive speaking. Generally, when you think of the audience, you think of 3 different types of audience: a supportive audience, an opposed audience, a neutral audience, and then this section also deals with Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So how do we take our speech and make it relevant by connecting it to something in Maslow's hierarchy of needs? We'll get to that in a second. All right. So in a persuasive speech, what is certainly very significant is that you know the attitude of your audience, and that you try to determine the needs, their beliefs, their values, so that you will succeed in persuading them to your point of view. So we classify audiences, as I've said, into 3 basically. Either they agree with you, they don't agree with you, or they are undecided. So the first one, the supportive audience, is the audience that agrees with you in your main point, your point of view. And your goal here is to reinforce what they already accept. So you want to strengthen their resolve, their commitment, and to use it to encourage behavioral change. And so you want to keep them enthusiastic about your point of view or your action plan. They will want new information to reinforce that point of view. They will want new information to strengthen their resistance to counter persuasion. They don't want old information. They already know that. An opposed audience does not agree with you. It may be hostile, it's not friendly, it's not sympathetic, and will certainly search for flaws in your logic, in your critical thinking, and in your argument. So your objective at this point of view is to get a fair hearing. And you need to set some reasonable goals. You probably won't change their actions. You might want to just get the information out and get them to think about it. So be sure to set some reasonable goals as to what you want to accomplish with an audience that is opposed. One thing to consider when facing an audience that is opposed to you is to figure out what is the nature of their opposition. Are they opposed to you in person in particular? Are they opposed to your cause? Are they opposed to a specific statement that you've made, or are they opposed because certain information has been made available to them that they did not know before, and so now they are opposed to you? If you can determine why they are opposed, your effort now can be spent on addressing the nature of that opposition. So you want to seek some common ground between yourself and the audience. They already disagree with you. Find whatever you can to ensure that there is some commonality between you and them. Find where you and your audience can stand without disagreeing. Now, don't state it in such a way that it makes it seem as if you agree with them. Well, be sure to acknowledge those differences. Is a helpful strategy for the opposed audience. So make sure also when you speak to them that you do not set your attitudes, your beliefs, or your values to be right and the audiences to be wrong. You immediately set a chasm between yourself and them. It's a us and they mentality, and they will not move to your point of view at all. Speaking before an uncommitted audience can be difficult because you don't know whether they are uninformed or they are indifferent or they're just neutral. So the uninformed audience is the easiest to persuade because all they need now is information. That's what they need. The indifferent audience member doesn't really care about the issue or topic, And in this case, it's important that you as the speaker get the attention of the audience members and give them a reason to care. Show them how it's relevant to them. The neutral audience member has the tendency to not take either side of an issue. They may be well informed on the subject, but they don't want to make a definitive choice for whatever personal reason that they have. So the key thing is to make the message relate to their lives, and it's significant. And you do this by providing relevant, persuasive material that will move them out of the uncommitted category. So you need to know something about their disposition toward you so that you can structure a very persuasive and effective presentation. So what are their needs? And now this will transition us into Maslow's hierarchy of needs. What are their needs? Once you figure out what their needs are, and you understand how to use Maslow's hierarchy of needs in terms of that hierarchy, you can develop lines of argument or lines of reasoning that pertain to their particular needs. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a hierarchy it's a pyramid essentially, where the most important needs, initially the most pressing needs I should say, not the most important, but the most pressing needs are at the very base of the column, physiological needs, and they move to the very top of the column, and those are self-actualization needs. So what Maslow said in 1943 was that the needs at the foundation, at the bottom, must be satisfied before individuals will consider the next level of needs. So the next level, the higher levels of needs are put on hold until the lower level of needs are met. Our greatest need, of course, are physiological needs. This is food, water, oxygen, procreation, and rest. If you're dying of thirst, you don't think about self-actualization, you don't think of safety needs. If you're not getting any oxygen, your most dire need is oxygen. Safety needs are the next one, up the level. This is our need for security, for freedom from fear and attack, a home that offers tranquility and comfort, and a means of earning a living. That's the second, safety needs. And so if there are a string of burglaries in the community, this is the most pressing need. Structure your speech and make it relevant to this particular need. Belongingness and love needs, and this refers to our drive for affiliation and friendship and love and belonging. So when appealing to the need for social belonging, you want to emphasize unity, community, cohesiveness, what will emerge from people coming together. Esteem needs is the next one. And this is the need to be seen as worthy of respect and honor and dignity, and that you are competent and that you are unique. And certainly you can appeal to this need, especially if people want to differentiate themselves from others. Somewhat different from the community needs. Self-actualization needs, and this is the drive to fulfill the highest potential through personal growth. So where do you see yourself 5 years from now? This relates to all of your goals, all the things that you want to achieve in life in terms of academics and work and family. This relates to your creativity, your self-awareness and knowledge, your social responsibility, and your responsiveness to challenge. So what does Maslow's hierarchy of needs provide? It provides you some theory, essentially, and it provides you a way of guiding you to preparing a persuasive speech, forgive me. So think about the needs of your audience and how can you reach them? So, and then target your speech to an appropriate level of need, where they are. Make it relevant to them so that they will be able to respond. The next section will deal with the elements of persuasion.